Hello and welcome back to the Gemma and Rachael Let's Chat podcast. We are bringing you a dieter dilemmas today, so you know what to do. Pop on your headphones, link up the Bluetooth, grab a brew and let's chat. Oh, Gem, we've had a few weeks off. It's been mental in our lives.
It. Yeah, we needed it. I think everyone needed it over the summer holidays.
They were intense. Obviously, kids are off, then kids going into school. See, Poppy just started school. Yeah. She's doing really, really well. But it has been intense, really intense. And obviously, Finn and Beth are back in school as well. How have they...
I feel guilty. Did you see I compared myself to last year when I was crying my eyes out when I took Finley to year 7? This year I was like, bye.
See you later.
Yeah, but they were both ready. They were excited. It was good. It was easy for me. They went back really, really well. So yeah, it's been lovely to get my little routine back. Although saying that, I was saying to a lady yesterday, it still takes a few weeks to get it back. I haven't quite grasped you want it desperately, and then when it's here, you're like, can't be bothered. I still want to eat chocolate.
It's just really difficult. Like I kind of felt like Pops would be back in school, starting school. Obviously she was in nursery before, and then like routine would just fall upon my shoulders and life would be good again. But you're right, like it is so hard to get that routine back. Like it is an effort in the beginning to kind of motivate yourself to have that routine.
You have to force it again, don't you, to get it back to sort of the healthy place. Same as January. I have so many people like, right, I'll speak to you on January the 1st. And then it gets there and they're like, no, maybe February, I've still got the food left. I'm like, hold on a month. But that's what you do, isn't it? You kind of need to break yourself in gently, I think.
Yeah, you do. And I think that, what is it they say? It takes 6 weeks to build a habit and a week to break it. So
I agree with that.
It's going to take us until half term.
Okay. And then we break it again.
But I think like just having those fundamentals every day to try and get your routines back into place is really key. So just if you are struggling with routine, know that you are not alone. We are in that same boat. And we're going to kick off with some dieter dilemmas that will hopefully may speak to you, and we can give some advice to get everyone read up for this kind of start of this. What is this? It's not summer term, is it? It's autumn term.
Autumn term. Yeah,
it's autumn. It is autumn time, which means
it feels like it's actually changed. Like over the last 2 days, I feel like autumn is coming. Even though I'm still in a summery t-shirt, I'm just pretending. But it's definitely arrived.
I've got a jumper on because it's definitely arrived in South Wales. We've just had rain the last couple of days. So
have you?
It is, it's autumnal, which I'm here for. I'm here for it. But also, I think sometimes people can write this time of year off, can't they? Because it's like, it's nearly Christmas, blah, blah, blah. But actually, you've still got the same 3 months you would have if it was January, February, March. So it's just a mindset shift to be like, no, I'm going to end this year on as much of a high as I want to start next year.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
Yeah, don't write time off. Like you never promised time, so use what you have today. With that said, here are some of the dieter dilemmas that we have this week.
Okay.
So the first one is, hi Gemma and Rach. I've hit maintenance, 2 stone lost. Absolutely amazing. Well done. And I've started running most days around 5k, but I have a mental battle with increasing my calorie intake. I am lacking in energy as I am still in a calorie deficit. Can you advise how many more calories I should be taking on, please? For reference, I'm 10 stone and having 1,500 calories a day. Now, we're not going to be able to tell you how many calories to have per day because there is so many more factors than just your weight. And I think sometimes people think it's literally, I just need my height and weight and you will give me a calorie number. But actually, it's a lot more, there's a lot more to it than that. And so the first bit of advice would always be speak to your consultant, your coach, whoever is helping you with your weight loss to formulate the calories that are going to work for you. Gem, I know that you and me both have the same stance on exercise, as in look at your weight loss as just continuing your daily activity. Look for those increases in daily activity you can do. Taking the stairs instead of the lift, parking a bit further away from the shops, walking to pick the kids up instead of driving, those kind of things. But kind of avoiding the stress of more like structured exercise until you've gone through your weight loss phase and reverse dieted out. Now, from the sounds of it, this person has hit their maintenance and has started running around 5k a day, which is mental. Like that is incredible to be able to do that
every day. Amazing.
That is a lot every day.
It is good. That's about, it's a good half an hour run every day, isn't it?
easily, like 40,
Mm.
30 to 45 minutes, I would say, but an average
Mm.
person. But it doesn't necessarily indicate in this message that they've reverse dieted out from their deficit, because they say they are
Yeah.
still in a deficit. So
Yeah.
you've had quite a few clients that have
Yeah.
gone on to do like Couch 5K, things like that.
Mhm.
What's your
Mhm.
kind of advice normally for people?
Um, the thing is, like you say, a lot of people want to run before they can walk. So like when you've been on a lower step of the one-to-one diet, they want to start exercising, they're feeling really good. I would never ever stop anyone from exercising. Like I want everybody to introduce if they want to, I'd never want them not to exercise. So step 3 minimum, basically for any of my clients that want to start doing gentle exercise. Again, I wouldn't advise on step 3 to ever run every day because it's a lot, it is a lot. But it also depends on what this lady's used to doing, how much activity she was doing during the weight loss. Like you said, there's so many factors. It's actually quite hard to advise someone like this. But I say this on Instagram all the time. We get messages a lot. And I say, I don't know how to advise you because I don't know your background. I don't know your medical history. We don't even know this lady's BMI or height or anything like that. So it is quite hard. And it's such an individual thing to advise on, I think. And it is trial and error. With a lot of my clients, it's trial and error. As we're moving up the steps, we see how each week goes. But for this lady, clearly she needs to be on more calories because of her energy levels. If she's feeling, you've got to listen to your body at the end of the day. If she's feeling like she's lacking in energy and she's in maintenance, she needs to up her calories. 1,500 calories is probably a deficit for most people without any exercise. So
Yeah,
the fact that
definitely.
she's exercising that much, she probably needs to be on quite a bit more. So I would speak to like you say, your coach or your consultant, try and introduce a couple of 100 calories every sort of week or two to see how you're feeling. It's a hard one. I had to learn my maintenance calories over time, and it's roughly about 1,800. That's not like, it's not
It's not
gospel. Do
like
you know what I mean?
yeah, it's
You can't really give someone that figure, but mine I know roughly is about 1,800 just from trial and error over the years. And that again was without any exercise. So I'm still struggling a little bit now because I've introduced the exercise 3 days a week. I started losing weight a little bit and I didn't feel more hungry. I'm used to how I eat because I've maintained for so long. So I'm trying to up my calories a bit now. And like I say, it is personally, my advice is a bit of trial and error. Work with your consultant, try and up the calories, maybe 200 calories a weekish or so, and just see where you get to. But you definitely need more
Yeah, you
from,
do need more. And the other
yeah.
thing to remember is if you are exercising, then you might need to look at other things just aside from calories. So things like what's your
Hmm.
protein intake?
Yeah.
A lot of the time people worry about increasing their calories because we think
Mm.
of increasing calories maybe in a negative light because of, diet culture and the years of it.
Yeah.
But also we may look to foods that are a bit more unhealthy, for example, when we're looking at upping our calories. But you can add extra calories in through things like using good oils when you're cooking or
Hmm.
having some peanut butter with something. Those are more calorie dense, highly nutritious options. So instead of just focusing on I need to get X amount more calories, become a little bit more fascinated in how can I get the calories and nutrition my body needs from food. If you've done a plan like ours, we're spoiled when we're losing weight because everything we need is in the products. We don't have to think about any of it.
Mm.
But as you go into maintenance, more so if you are someone who's going to be exercising and therefore you're needing to refuel your body and give your body what it needs, you're going to need to find the stuff that's going to give your body the good fats, it's going
Mm.
to give your body the proteins, the good complex carbs.
Mm.
Because if you're exercising, your body is more than ever a machine. So we need to
Yeah.
fuel it and give it what it needs,
Yeah.
and not just when you're exercising, but even on the rest days and things like that. Because whilst you may not be exercising, your muscles are going to be repairing
Yeah.
and all the rest of it.
And you
So
need rest days. Rest days are
you
very,
need
very
them.
important. Yeah.
They're so important. Running is so high impact on your body. And
Mm.
even if you're slim now, if you have been obese, I don't know from the message, but if you have
No.
been, then there will have been wear and tear on your joints and your ligaments and things like that. So it's really, really important that you listen to your body, you start looking to fuel it, and you can go online and find roughly what your maintenance calories are, and then like Jem said, just look at upping it 200 calories a week until you get to that point, and then listen to your body and kind of
Mm.
see how you feel from there, and look at what am I eating and how can I add things in that give me extra nutrition, extra fuel, extra calories, but are benefiting me rather than just being like, I've got 200 calories, I'll have a chocolate bar or I'll have
Yeah.
this or I'll have
Yeah.
that,
Hmm.
which is maybe not going to be what your body needs. But I mean, fair play. Like having
Mm.
lost the weight and now being
Yeah.
really active like that is something to really celebrate. But just don't get scared at this point, because it's different, and therefore
Yeah.
revert back to old habits or revert back to just restriction and exercise. Dim dim dim, we're
Yeah.
not here for that mindset, we're changing it up.
Mm.
So definitely like push yourself, let yourself feel uncomfortable. What doesn't
Mm.
challenge you doesn't change you. So do challenge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got another question here, and it
Okay.
is: Hi Gemma Rach, is it okay to switch between step 2 and step 3 if exercising? For example, spin. Should I just stick to step 3 and not do step 2? I feel like we kind of covered this in
This is a real common
the last
question.
question, but holy Lord alive, like spin. Like
Yeah.
spin is high
Hardcore.
impact, right? Now, if you're doing this like once a week, okay, you could probably get away with it. But if you're doing this multiple times a week or 1,000 calories a day on step
It's just
3,
not. So many people want to do this, don't they? And it is that kind of, I really want to exercise, but I really want to restrict. And it's like, they don't go together. They
they
really don't.
don't.
You can't do them together.
Jamie always says
Oh,
this, right? So Jamie obviously um, was he a semi-professional athlete in his youth? Who knows? I think he thinks he
yes,
was,
he
but
was. Let's just tell him he
he
was. Makes him feel better.
he was really, really fit when he was younger.
Yeah.
And then obviously, as a lot of you know who follow me and listen to the podcast, he put weight on and then he lost 6 stone with the plan. And then he started training to run a
Mm.
marathon. Now, when he was training to run a marathon, he put 1.5 stone on during his training block, because, he was running like 20-30 kilometers in a training session, and then he was ravenous, and he was ravenous
Yeah.
for days after whilst his body was healing.
Yeah.
But he always said, my goal wasn't weight loss, my goal
Yeah.
was running this distance. If my weight went up on the scales, then that's just what's needed for me to run the distance that I want to run.
Yeah.
um and then after the marathon, he would then draw back his training, and he would then could bring his calories back down and would lose the weight.
Mm-hmm.
That he always says to me, he's like, walking isn't sexy. So for a lot of people, when we're like, go out for a walk, he's like, yeah, but people don't want to do it because it's not sexy. It's not like saying, oh, I was at spin class, or I just went on a run. Like,
Yeah.
but
And people don't class it as exercise, but it is.
it
Walking's so good for
is.
you. Yeah.
Like, if you're not doing your 10,000 steps a day, make that the aim. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not doing anywhere near that, but it's
Make that
like,
your aim, Rach.
I know those are the things that I could do, making like 3,000 steps my aim, but those are the things that we need to like work
Yeah.
on.
Mm-hmm.
Walking is such a good activity to supplement weight
Yeah.
loss, because your heart rate is going to stay in a place that's going to really like efficiently burn fat, rather
Mm.
than something like spin or running, which is going to get your heart rate to a point where it's more, I think that it's anaerobic. So it's
Mm-hmm.
helping your cardiovascular system. It's fantastic, but it doesn't necessarily go hand in hand with weight loss.
Yeah.
So if I had a client personally that was on step 3 telling me that they were doing spin, we're just going to go a few times a week, like 3 times a
Mm-hmm.
week, that would alarm me, because I would be
Mm-hmm.
like, in a spin class, you're probably going to burn 400, 500
Oh,
calories,
probably more. Yeah.
if not more. In a spin class, you're taking in
Mm-hmm.
1,000 calories, and everything that I don't want to happen is probably going to happen. You're probably going to get hungrier, your recovery
Yeah.
is going to be rubbish, you're risking injury, you're going to be knackered. Like, all of the things are not optimal for you being able to sustain your calorie deficit and get
Mm.
your weight loss. So my question to my clients is usually, what's our goal? Like, what are we working for here? Are we looking for weight loss, or are you looking to increase your fitness and make that the priority? If
Mm.
it's weight loss, we can tag on fitness, because you can go out and do your 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day, and that
Yeah.
will do both at once whilst not having any negative impact on your body.
Mm.
And if it's fitness related, then that's fine. We can reverse diet you up, get your calories up, get your protein up, and then, look at how you're going to incorporate the exercise into your kind of overall fitness and health journey. But
Mm. Mm.
yeah, something
That's a
as
hard one,
high
isn't it?
impact as
Yeah.
spin,
Yeah.
I would say that you're not going to be feeling great, and you're probably going to get really frustrated with the scale and
Yeah.
demotivated, and you're also, like I say, just you're risking injury and poor
Mm-hmm.
recovery from your body, because your body
Mm.
is just not going to be getting enough. But like we said, we've all been conditioned to think we need to do as much exercise and eat as little as possible to achieve our weight loss goals. Don't you just love the diet industry?
And it's the cardio as well. I think people think cardio. I'm going to lose loads of weight. It's the complete opposite. Actually, strength training and, lifting weights, you can change your body so much more than you can with
100%.
cardio. But it is, again, I think that's something we were conditioned when we were younger. It was like you had to run, you had to burn as many calories as possible. It's crazy, isn't it?
For the longest time, that was what all that we saw was like, you need to be on a treadmill, on an like one of those things.
Yeah, do you remember? I saw someone on that the other day. I thought, I'll tell you what, a lot of the fitness people in the gym do go on that Stairmaster.
Yeah,
and it looks so slow, and they're pushing. They are dying on that, and I think, I don't really want to do that. It looks horrible.
That is, I always remember, tangent, do you remember on The Biggest Loser, whenever they used to have to climb up like the big buildings in America?
I used to love that programme.
Poor little souls when they were at their heaviest. I always think, if I was 22 stone and you made me do that, I would die.
I'm surprised more of them weren't, seriously ill. Like, that was hardcore, wasn't it?
I remember just walking up 5 flights of stairs in St David's car park in Cardiff when I was at my biggest and crying at the top.
Stairs are hard,
I was like, this is really hard. But it is like one of those things where looking at instead of kind of going to what you feel like you should do, because a lot of us, our ideas on what is good and bad when it comes to weight and our health are skewed because of all the messaging that we've had over all of the years. Look what you want to do. Find something that brings your body joy, like that you enjoy movement through. So like whether that's something like yoga is fantastic. Pilates, I want to start Pilates because it looks like...
Do you know what I do as well? Right, we need to write down some goals later, Rach.
Yeah, I want to... Wow, I've got I downloaded this like at-home wall Pilates app thing. Yeah. So I'm going to give that a go, and then I'm going to try, when I feel comfortable with that, I might try and find a class, because have you seen the girls' bodies that do Pilates? Like,
yes, I have, and this is what makes me want to do it.
They are insane.
Also flexibility, as you get, we're not getting any younger, and I feel like that movement, flexibility is very important as you get older.
Very important.
I keep seeing like these reels of these like 90-year-old women doing the splits, and they're like, I've done Pilates my whole life. I'm like, right, I need to do that.
Pilates, what I need. But especially as women, like we know, like women, like muscle, tone, and things like that on your body is so important as we go through things like perimenopause, menopause. So looking at things like that, but it doesn't have to be going in the gym and getting the weights. Like it can literally be doing your at home workout. There's so many on the market. There are so many on the market. So many. Yeah. And so many like fun ones. I know that there's what's her name on YouTube? So YouTube for yoga with Adrian. She's incredible. She's got loads of 30-day challenges that she has on there that you can do. Really friendly to all levels. So you could be like literally I can't touch my toes, or you could be like a pretzel. You can do either. And also I think it's called Dancing with Joe or something like this. And she does all of these like Zumba-esque at home dance workout things, which again, it's like fun. So and
finding what you enjoy, isn't it? Like you said, find something you really enjoy, just moving your body in some way.
Find what makes you feel good, and that will be different for everyone. But don't, like, I always just think if your goal is weight loss, let's find something that's really going to complement that instead of something that's going to potentially jeopardize that goal.
Yes,
so
definitely.
That is our aims. I should have got Jamie on for today, but he's getting his hair cut.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, so he's not here. But he would have a lot to say. He would just say, walk. If you're not walking, if you're not getting your step count in.
Yeah, walking is key, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Like sort your diet out, and then you can look at exercise. And then he's also doing strength training now because he ran the marathon. He's done 2 marathons, and he didn't really do much strength training with either. He did mainly running. And even he said, he's like, I didn't get the times I wanted just because I didn't have the muscle.
See, Jim always says that. It's so important if you're going to do running to do the strength training as well.
Okay, so we've got one last one that we're going to do today. And I can relate to this so much. Oh. So you can both give advice to this person and to me. Love that.
Okay.
So, hi, Gemma Rach. So, I'm at goal and have been for 18 months. Lots of life happening right now. I can feel I've put weight on, but I'm scared to weigh myself. Tips most welcome.
Oh,
Oh,
bless her.
sister, you are not alone.
And that is the first thing you do, isn't it? When you don't feel good, you don't want to weigh, and it's
Yeah,
that whole
you
try
don't
and
want
ignore
to
it for a minute.
you don't want to face it,
Yeah.
and it's really hard. I think because
Mm.
and we talk about it all the time, right? That this plan and working through mindset stuff, we really want to end dieting cycles, right? We want to end yo-yo dieting. However, I think there is a big distinction between yo-yo dieting and being somebody that is an emotional eater or arguably a food addict like I am, right? That uses food to cope when things are really stressful. And like, to me, that is kind of what that like addiction is, because if I was an alcoholic and I'd recovered, what are going to be the stresses that could make me lapse back, right? There's going to be stressful life situations and all the rest of it, and you can end up having that lapse. Now, in the world of recovery, there are relapses, which is like full blown back into your addiction, and it's really not good. And there are lapses, which are like momentary times where old behaviors and that can creep in. However, you're not at the stage where you once were, and you can take action and improve it. Now, for me, that is very different to yo-yo dieting, which is where the main goal and focus is let's me lose weight as quickly as possible, versus I think for a lot of the time people in maintenance that have food issues is I want to get control back over food again. I need to regain that control back. And I've really struggled with that, if I'm being open and honest and vulnerable on this podcast, because I do believe I have ended that dieting cycle. However, I don't think I'm ever going to be free of my struggle with food. It's an ongoing battle. It's something that you...
But that's so important to share and say, because like we've said before, people think, oh, I've lost weight, I'm cured. You know, that's it. I'll never struggle again. And they'll look at someone that's maybe maintaining and think, right, well, I just need to get to that point and then I'll never have to worry again. But everyone in maintenance still has the same worries, still has the same, stresses and holdover for it. It's very hard to, I actually don't think you can ever get rid of that, Rach. Like, I think that is part of you. And that's okay to admit that. You just have to work on it, basically.
That's it. And I feel like you have to give yourself grace with it and be like, what, when life is life in, if that's a symptom of life being stressful, then fine. Arguably, it gets me through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And means I can come out the other side relatively unscathed. If all I come out the other side of that with is a bit of weight gain, I mean, is that the worst that
it does help
I
you
could
cope?
have?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's not bad at all, is it? And
No.
I think you and Nat have quite similar, like you've both spoken about it before. Natalie knows when she's struggling, maybe mentally or at home or in herself, because the result is weight gain. It's not
100%.
She's not upset about the weight gain, or she's not feeling rubbish because of the weight gain. It's a result of how she was already feeling, if that makes sense. So
1,000,000%. I always say that, like, if I've put weight on, I am struggling in some aspect of my life. I'm not struggling necessarily with food. Food is just
it's not food. Yeah.
It's like the symptom of other things that you struggle with.
And
we all have life happen. Like, everyone has periods of life that are great, and everyone has periods of life which are a real struggle. And I think if we put the pressure on our shoulders that when we get to maintenance, it's just got to be, I mean, what you're saying is that when I get to maintenance, I need to maintain that weight forever. You are arguably, by definition, therefore saying that your life has to stay in exactly the same place it was when you got to maintenance, which isn't going to happen. Like, you will have new stresses, you'll have new struggles, you'll have new heartache, you'll have new highs. Like, life's forever changing. And so the idea of maintenance, getting to somewhere and something being done, almost contradicts how life is and how we are as humans, because we are always changing. So your relationship with yourself, with your body, with food, that is also an ever-changing thing. And I think the key is being able to realise, and I always say the reason I'm not 22 stone again is because I have the ability now to see and realise, and not, don't be wrong, it annoys me it, anno- it annoys me loads, but it's not like I hate myself for it or I hate my body for it. It frustrates me almost that things in life are happening. It's like, why
Yeah,
can't life just be easy for a bit?
I
Like, come
know,
on,
I know.
like, why are things tough? But
Mm,
we get through them. We all have tough
mm-hmm.
stuff. We all have to get through it. But you can't run away from it being an issue. I think the biggest thing is just accepting I have this issue.
Yeah.
If I can accept this is an issue I have, then ultimately it removes the shame, the guilt, the
Mm-hmm.
embarrassment, all the negative things that will keep us locked in that place, right? That will lead to us going further down the path into a full kind of relapse, if you
Mm,
like, of your food
mm-hmm.
issues. So you have to accept that. You don't have to step on the scale. You don't have to, it's not, you haven't got to go on and repent for anything here. This isn't a case of like, you need to go on and now pay for your sins.
Mm.
However, if you had spent loads of money, for example, if you were racking up debt, which I've been there too, you have to know where you're starting. You have to kind
Mm.
of know, like, where, let me just take a full inventory of where things are at the
Yeah.
minute. And I think that isn't just the scales, but it is part of it. So
Mm-hmm.
I get my weight. That's one measure.
Yeah.
Maybe I write down how I'm feeling.
Feeling.
Maybe
Yeah.
I write down how I'm feeling around food, how I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
eating at the minute. See if there's any patterns or
Mm.
any, because sometimes it's habitual. So is there anything that I'm having in habit now? Have I brought habits
Mm.
back in, like having that sweet treat at the end of the day? Or,
Yeah.
let me find out where those pinpoints are. Because sometimes we can get so overwhelmed by the fact that we feel like everything's falling to pieces that we stop being able to look at things just from like a rational and analytical point of view and just being like,
Mm.
let's just have a look, let's just see where things are and we can go there. Almost give yourself a little bit of an MOT. And if you've got a consultant, then from first-hand experience, speak to them. Um,
You do have to. You have to talk. You have to openly talk about it. Otherwise, you are holding that in, aren't you?
yeah,
And
and
that's not good for anyone.
secrets are what food issues thrive off.
Yeah.
Like secrecy, isolation, same with any
Yeah.
addiction,
Mm-hmm.
is what it thrives off. You have to at least be open with one person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even if that is hard, and I'm not ashamed to say even I found that hard with Jam,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
in like saying like I'm really trying to put on like I'm not even trying to put a front on. I'm trying to tell myself that I'm in control of this. But
Mm.
there's just that little tipping of the scales where it's like I don't know how much I feel in control of this versus how much I'm telling myself I am.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
actually that is the point that you need to just reach out and be like, need some help. What I will
Yeah.
say is the amazing thing about the plan is, for me, it has always been the remedy. Like, it's always been the thing that I can go back to because I really am so passionate about, if you are someone who struggles with food, this plan is going to give you the one thing that is the closest thing to like abstaining from a
Mm.
substance if your a
Mm-hmm.
substance is food. Like,
Yeah.
it really is so incredible in that respect that it
Mm-hmm.
enables you to have that. And I know there's lots of people who at the minute take like the injections and things like
Yeah.
that because they say like it removes your hunger, it removes the food noise. Plan does that.
Yeah. It's
Plan
the
does
same.
that. Get
Yeah.
through the first few days, like,
Yeah.
and plan will give you exactly that, and you'll have the support and everything.
Mm. And the
um
nutrients. You won't
and the
become
nutrients, you're not gonna,
malnourished.
you feel great. Like, God, I've never felt
Yeah.
better
You
than
really
when I
do.
was doing like step one. I'm not gonna lie, like
Mm.
never felt better because you were getting everything you
Oh, it's
needed.
like an addictive feeling, isn't it? It's an
Yeah,
absolute buzz. People, I get those messages still from people that just feel the best they've ever felt. And they're like, how can this be possible on 4 meal replacement products a day? How do I
yeah.
feel like this? And it's because it's the formulation of all the nutrients. It's so different to just trying to eat 800 calories a day.
And you don't have to think about it.
Don't have to
You
think about
don't
it.
have to
Removes the
like,
food noise, which is what
oh,
everybody wants.
it's so good. So
Mm.
there's a little bit of a come to Jesus moment for me, but also
Yeah.
just to share that, like, if you are someone who's been, I mean, you've been in maintenance for 18 months. That is
Mm.
incredible.
Mm.
These things will happen. There will be lapses.
And
Life will
maintenance isn't
happen.
the same weight. We've said this before. It's not,
Hmm.
maintenance is just it's a new way of life to navigate, and it is hard, and you're never gonna, because I have had people say to me, oh, I'm maintaining the exact weight, and I'm like, wow, how? That's really
Yeah.
hard, like to stay exactly the same weight. But then also, how do you know you're staying exactly the same weight? Because what you don't want to be doing is weighing constantly. to check that you're at that exact weight, because that's not good either.
No, and I feel like that's where the support element is so important, because you do need that person to help you through and navigate through that, because you probably haven't been in that space before. You probably haven't been maintaining before. You know, we all can do weight loss and weight gain, but maintenance is something that's is completely new. So it's important that you have someone there, because also if there are maybe unhealthy habits or ways of thinking around you maintaining that weight, then they can call you out on it and be like, okay, you're maintaining exactly the same weight, but you're constantly fixated on calories, constantly weighing yourself. Like, that's not healthy either. We want to break away from that as well. It's so many layers involved in managing weight. It's not single layered. It's not the same for everybody. And it's not this kind of one shot done, off you go, sorted, never to have a problem again. Maybe it is for some people, but majority of my clients, majority of people I speak to about it, myself included, that isn't the case. And I know, Jem, you were really honest a few years ago as well, whenever you put weight on and went back on step 2, like you had when you first lost the weight, because it was that I need to just rein in the habits and the way in which I'm interacting with food.
And I felt really excited to do step 2 again. It was like it was a buzz for me. Me and James did it together, didn't we? And
I
we
love
just
watching
both
those
needed
videos.
it. Oh, I do. It's crazy. It feels like a lifetime ago. It was only about 4 years ago. It feels much longer. But it's just having that, and I liked having the focus of doing the vlog as well, because that helps me. You know, all of my social media is really primarily for my accountability. That's what I do it for me, to help me, because I need that accountability. I don't want to be ringing Debbie every day. It's, 11 and a half years down the line. And I just feel like that's what's helped me. But then you have to be honest as well, that it's not perfect all the time. Most Christmases, as you know, I put on quite a bit of weight, because I just use December as that's my time off of the year. Most of my clients are off plan. I normally take my holiday then, and I really fully enjoy it. And then January, I can rein it back in again. But I think most people, even I see a lot of like PTs online, or, people that maybe bash what we're doing, but actually they're all resetting in January as well. They're all doing the same after their holidays. It's just a way of life, and it's how you find how you enjoy doing it, or if you find a comfort place that helps you and you can go back to a certain calorie deficit after a holiday, or whatever you choose to do, that's your like comfort. And I feel like I'm in that kind of zone now, where I feel very confident in what I have to do after those things, and it doesn't bother me anymore. But other people might say, well, that's not maintenance. It's like, but it is, because that's my maintenance. That's how I choose to do it.
That's what works for you. And it's not like this massive binge restrict. I think that is the key. It's looking at, right, what were the behaviours that were keeping me locked in that cycle? Let me break those behaviours. That doesn't mean then that your weight won't fluctuate. Every human being on this planet's weight fluctuates.
Yeah.
But it's then, so it's understanding that, and then it's looking at why is this making me feel the way that it's making me feel? What's the fear? Like, what is at the root that's making me scared about stepping on those scales, or acknowledging where I am, and being really honest with that, and writing that down and reflecting and being like, okay, where do these kind of come from? Like, where has this stemmed from? And by doing that and feeling more in control with that, it's going to give you so much empowerment to be able to go forward and be like, you know what? This isn't controlling me. I've got the tools that I need in order to work this, and I don't need to live to anyone's expectations, or whatever they are.
That's what it is. It's expectations of other people, what you think other people think.
Exactly, and that is why we're here, bearing our souls, being like, you know what? When life is life in, it's really hard, and it is it's something that we all struggle with. But we at least have the support network and the framework to help us rein it back, so that we don't get back to a place where we were when we started in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, that feels like a nice place to wrap up this episode. And as always, thank you for everyone that sent in their questions. We regularly put up links on our socials, on our stories, so make sure to check them out, where you can submit your diet dilemmas, and we would love to hear them, so please send them over. We'll be back as always next week with another episode. School is back in session. The podcast is also back in session. We are back to it. But as always, it is goodbye from me.
And bye from me.
And we will see you all again really, really soon.